Hi. So when Tesla first started thinking about mass power generation and lots of electricity for everybody, his first thought was a mechanical oscillator. His idea was if you could get a magnet to bounce up and down in a coil, then you would generate alternate current. So he built a machine, because that's the kind of guy he was. And he set this thing running with air. And it bounced up and down, pounding away, and it set up a vibration that apparently caused his entire building to shake. He thought it was a bit weird until the fire brigade knocked on his door and said, in fact, he was shaking a whole quarter of New York. And so this generator got known as the Tesla earthquake machine, because the oscillations were somehow in harmony with the ground, and they were shaking buildings and shaking the entire area. And really, it came to nothing, because at the end of that, what he did was come up with the rotary alternator that we all know and use today. But the Tesla earthquake machine has always been one of those things that have fascinated people, me included. Now, I've been working for quite a while on an air engine, although I was told off about that, and I'm supposed to call it an air motor. Whatever. I was working on that for a while, and I've done a whole series on scratch building it, sort of showing exactly how to build your own air engine. And then I did something where I did a modification of that to make it a linear alternator. And if you start to think about it, of course, a linear alternator and the earthquake machine are in fact exactly the same thing. Now, I did think of pretending I knew that all along, but actually I didn't. It was pointed out to me a couple of videos ago, and I thought, oh yeah, that's right. So I had a look at Tesla's earthquake machine again, just to make sure that I knew what I was talking about. And it turns out what I've in fact done is remade the earthquake machine, which to be honest I think is kind of cool anyway. So if you check out Tesla's earthquake machine, you'll see it's exactly what we've got here. It's an oscillating piston driven by air. Now, there's a number of ways we could get energy out of here, and a number have been suggested. We could stick some magnets on here and have it go through a coil. My own personal favourite actually is to stick magnets on the piston to give the piston an inertia, because it actually needs inertia to get over that 0 point, which would be top dead centre. We do that in an air engine. If you've watched the series with the flywheel, if we give the piston a mass, it'll have its own inertia to carry it through those points. So I'm in favour of putting the mass onto the actual piston. I'm also quite in favour of it because here we've got a cylinder case which is containing the piston, and what we could do with a low pressure air engine obviously is make the cylinder case the coil, so there is no distance between the two. So I'm in favour of that, but it doesn't really matter. Stick it on the piston, stick it on the push rod, wherever you want. Wherever it's going to oscillate up and down through that coil is going to generate. And that was the idea behind the linear generator. Now, I have made a change there, because when I made the first one, we had the valve system here. What I've done is created this little valve here that's worked by a couple of little lugs here. So as the piston goes in, that valve operates. Then as the piston comes back, that valve operates the other way. So the change that I've made is this valve. And if you want to know exactly how that valve is made, then that's exactly what I'm going to go through now. Okay, so to make this valve chest, what I've done is I've taken some acrylic block. I mean, you know where I got this acrylic from. It's from the back of LCD screens that were disassembled in previous videos. And I've cut 3 blocks at 10 by 10. Then I've marked it out and drilled right the way through and bolted them together so that these 3 blocks will always be in the same registration. Now, I've got a hole in the centre because I want to cut a circle. So I'm going to drill that hole right the way through. So again, the central hole is in the same registration. Then I can smooth off all the edges, and I need to think about the inlet and outlet ports. So I'll cut part of a circle, which will tell me where the inlet and outlet ports are going to be, mark the ports, and then drill those ports out. So you can see what I've done. I've bolted the whole thing together, as I said. I've marked it up. I took a hole saw to make the circle that I actually want. And then here I've got a line in the centre. So we've got the line in the centre and then the 2 at 45 degrees, making 90-degree angle for that whole thing. We're going to use 12mm ports, so when the ports are drilled through, that's what they'll actually be like. Now, one of these plates is the port inlet plate and outlet plate. This is the actual valve, and then there's a backing plate. Now this one, which is the valve, we know because it's got the circle, would only have 2 of these holes drilled. The plate that makes the actual inlet and outlet will have all three. So now we've got that done and we've bothered to sand all this down so it's nice and even with each other, we need to take it apart. And of course I've put a line on there to tell me how that thing actually goes. So I'm going to unscrew it, reverse it and drill the holes through. Okay, so we took that one away and then we drilled those through and marked that one, took that away and drilled that through. So that's your front cover plate with its 3 portholes, and we're going to stick that 12mm pipe in there and that will make our ports. That's the front plate done. This plate, you can see where we scribed the circle, so we now need to drill out that entire circle. You'll notice that I only drilled through 2 portholes because they line up like that as the circle swings, so we need those 2 portholes. This one actually is an exhaust, and what we'll do is we'll trim that out at an arc like that because it will exhaust around the circle and out the top. The other thing we need is a bearing. This is a skater bearing, it's 8mm thick, the acrylic's 9mm, and the skater bearing will go in the centre like that. This is the rear plate, and the rear plate is all finished. So let's get on and do those. Okay, so there's the back plate, that's the chest. Now we've cut out the centre hole, and you can see that the centre disc, I've cut that out to 22mm, put a skater bearing in it, that's going to go in there, and there's the front part of the chest with its 3 holes in, and then those 3 port entry pipes go in there like that. So now we can assemble everything, check it, and then we need to be able to cut this around here to allow the gas to escape on the exhaust, and then we're finished. So I've fixed the central piece and the back piece together. There's the bits with the ports in there, and there is the valve wheel that has been shaped with its bearing in the middle. So now all I've got to do is put that together and see where it fits. Now it's going to waggle that little bit there, and as these actually are exhaust ports, anywhere along there can get chopped off to expose that little section, which is going to be the section that connects to the piston rod. So that's the valve finished. That is the air inlet port, and these 2 go to the piston. So when the valve's in that position, these 2 are joined up. This one exhausts out through there, so the piston will be pushed up with the other side exhausting out there. Now there's going to be a little knocker on that piston shaft, and that will knock it in that position so that now these 2 are joined up and that exhausts. So that's how we're going to actually make that piston work. So here is the valve in situ. There's the input, which is the centre one, and here we have this one going to there, that one going to there, and this is just 12.5mm polyprop that's put onto those 12mm aluminium tubes that go into the inlet chamber to the piston, and there's the valve itself. Now the valve has this piece of screw here, and it has that because as the piston comes out, that white lug hits it and moves it into its next position. This bit of brass just guides it and stops the lug dropping down. As we continue to blow, the piston reverses its direction and that second lug hits it, and that's how the valve operates. So we link that valve with this piston and we have ourselves an earthquake machine. There's obviously still more to do to this. I've got to put a coil on it, I've got to put the magnets in. But there is one more serious problem, and that is I don't have an air supply. Now I've had lots of people suggest things like hair dryers on cool, the reverse of the vacuum cleaner, a set of bellows, all kinds of things. But I have a plan for the supply, and I'm going to make that next. So I'm not keen to be making lots and lots of things. What I'm going to do is make the one that I have in mind. So to demonstrate this working, I'm just going to do the same thing and blow in that tube. That one's the centre one, and we should see it go back and bounce back before I run out of puff. So here we go. So we can get a reciprocation out of it until I can't puff anymore. What I'm going to do is create a system that's based on Prepper-Tech water, his water battery. I really liked that idea. So I wanted to create the water battery to drive this so that we could see whether that worked or not. So that's the next thing I'm going to build as the air supply for this. Now, I'm not keen to build a bellows or whatever for that. That's what I'm going to do. But we have created ourselves a Tesla earthquake engine. And I think that's absolutely fascinating. Like I say, even though I didn't really realise that's what I was doing when it was time to do it, then that doesn't matter. I think it's still pretty awesome. There's a couple of other points to point out to you actually. Once you've made the valve, you notice that on the piston rod I've got these couple of lugs. They whack this piece of screw here, so as that comes back, the screw goes back into that position and that moves the valve into the right position, comes that way, and again the valve goes into the right position. So you need this lugs here and this pin on your valve. This bit of brass is just a guide rod to stop those lugs dropping down and hitting the actual valve set there. Anyway, I shall get on with that and keep you updated with it, but there is Tesla's earthquake engine. I thought you'd enjoy that. I hope that you did. I hope that it sparked some ideas in you, and thank you very much for watching.